With airline tickets sold at very low prices, we took advantage of the opportunity to book a trip on one of PAL's longest domestic routes, upgrading our seats to business class on board their state-of-the-art A350 aircraft. Check out if having all these amenities in this 2-hour flight is really worth it. Keep it here on Airline Travel and Airports. Our journey begins at Terminal 2 as usual, but we head off to PAL's ticket office first upon learning that there's been an aircraft change. And since PAL's deploying an A350, travel buddy Luis and I decided to do an upgrade, just to see how it's like to fly business class on PAL's longest domestic route. Once upgraded, we then moved on to departures, assisted by check-in agent Glipstone, who issued our boarding passes for today's flight to General Santos City. All set, we head to our assigned gate where our A350 aircraft awaits. Boarding soon follows, and with only a handful of passengers flying today, we were soon making our way to the aero bridge and eventually stepping inside the plane. In my flights aboard PAL's A350, I've never experienced flying in business class. Well, it's a different story this time, as we're getting the chance to live out this long-time dream today. And from where I'm at, I simply have an awesome view of the entire business class section. With only about 5 of us passengers in the forward cabin, all the more we felt like VIPs, with crew members giving us dedicated attention as they attend to our needs and requests. As usual, every flight seems like the first, with that magic and wonder all enhanced as my business class experience aboard this A350 begins. And it all starts as I walk around to explore the area while there's not too many passengers around. And now's a good time to do it. Now it seems I'm not the only one excited to be here. Travel buddy Luis seems to be enjoying his time aboard the A350 Love Bus even before the plane left the ground. With these comfortable Thomson Aero Vantage XL seats, equipped with 18.5-inch entertainment screens, I sure bet you're gonna get glued here all throughout the flight. And take note, seats here can turn into full flat beds and have built-in massage system. Now talk about ultimate comfort at 30,000 feet. PAL's A350 has 30 business class seats in total, with 8 rows and a 1-2-1 configuration, all with direct aisle access. But before I go any further about the seats here, let's go around the cabin so I can show you more of what it's like to be in this aircraft. Walking towards the rear of the plane, I pass by the premium economy section, which I consider a cross between business class and coach. This A350 has 24 of these seats that don't turn into full flat beds but still have amenities almost the same as business class. Seats here are spread across 3 rows in 2-4-2 configuration, all with 13.3-inch personal TV screens with leg rests and footrests in that extra spacious legroom. Looking a bit closer to these plush seats, I find spaces to hold your bottled drinks, remote controls for IFEs, AC power outlets, headphone sockets, and gooseneck reading lights. For passengers embarking on long-haul flights who need a bit more comfort but not into spending so much for a business class fare, premium economy is the way to go. Finally, there's economy class section that still includes the same welcoming treatment crew members give, just like this one.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Good morning.
There's 241 seats here in coach that goes from rows 31 to 65, with my favorite spot in the back whenever I'm flying economy. I don't know, I just like the space behind me whenever I need to stand up and stretch during flight, as well as getting to interact with crew members whenever they're not busy. Looking at the rear galley reminds me of my international flights from Hong Kong and London, and how this area gives a spacious feel despite being packed with carts. Talk about pre-pandemic days. I'm just glad to be flying aboard PAL's A350 again, even on domestic routes like this, and getting to visit perhaps the roomiest rear galley in all of its fleet. Lately, PAL's been deploying their A350 aircrafts on routes between Manila and General Santos City. What's more, you can snag fares on that route for only about 1,200 pesos per way, or about $25 US. So if you want to experience flying aboard PAL's A350, you can check out both fares and the type of aircraft used on specific dates so you can plan out your dream flight. Walking back to my seat, I noticed that the twin aisles here seem narrower compared to PAL's A330 aircraft. The cabin sure kinda looks slimmer, but it sure has high-looking ceilings. Anyhow, I'm getting a feeling that the doors will be closed shortly, having only very few passengers going to Jensen today. So off I go to my seat in business class, where I'll be enjoying more room in the meantime in this flight that will last about 2 hours. So here I am in my business class seat. But before I can enjoy its features, a crew member approaches me, offering meal choices to be served later during flight, and drinks that's served right away to refresh me before we go.
Wrap with egg. And the other one is shrimp salad. Shrimp salad wrap.
Wrap na lang.
And a something to drink. You have
Orange juice.
Orange juice.
Pang vitamin C.
Finally, getting to enjoy the seat. First thing to do is to check out the large 18.5-inch screen in front of me that I just can't miss. In navigating through it, I made my way through the menus and its contents, trying to tune into what I often watch. Nope, not the movies, but the flight map where I can track the progress of my flight. And it seems, well, not just ready for now. So back to the home screen I go to check out what else is there to see. More to my seat, I sure have a very spacious legroom here, with my footwell just up ahead where I can rest my feet when my seat converts into a bed. Then there's this rack that holds my safety card. And nope, we're not done yet. There's just more to the seat, like this personal reading lamp that you can adjust where you want your light to focus. Then we have the control buttons here to get your seat to recline, to activate the massage function, or to turn it into a full flat bed as you like. Under that extra storage space, you have a wired remote control here for the overhead lamp, controls for the IFE, and also a flight attendant call button with the remote coming in handy, especially when you're lying flat on bed. Next to it are headphone sockets, a USB port, and a universal power outlet to juice up your gadgets during flight. Though it ain't the right time to turn my seat into a bed, I just toyed around with the buttons just to see if it works. And I'm glad it does, with my seat immediately moving the instant I press some of them. Soon, safety demo is shown with instructions given while showcasing popular destinations in the Philippines. With it, I strap on my over-the-shoulder seatbelt as our plane begins its pushback, followed by distinct sounds coming from both the engines and the plane's flaps.
Shall be identified flights for takeoff. Reading lights are found in your service panels. Thank you.
As our plane rolled towards the runway, we passed by a number of aircraft sitting at the maintenance bay, a wonderful sight to see before eventually taking off for General Santos City. Powered by two of these quiet Rolls-Royce Trent turbofan engines, we continued to climb. And speaking of quiet, a crew member pulls down the window shades to create a restful ambiance here at the business class section, which I also did with my windows as it was simply too bright. It didn't take long after I did so that a flight attendant began setting up my table, signifying the start of their in-flight meal service. In preparation, a crisp white tablecloth is laid out, reminding me somewhat of formal dining experience, but this time at 30,000 feet. With our tables prepared, our preferred meals were served shortly, with 2 bottled drinks found in our trays handed out for now during this time of pandemic. Regardless, presentation was still good. Lately, in my other business class flights after this, PAL has done away with bottled drinks and plastic cutleries and have gradually resorted back to crystal glasses and silverware, giving more impact to their meal presentation. Food served here in business class was not that bad, but not great either, but it sure filled one's tummy. Now if this was an international flight, it'll be a different story, as I'm pretty sure food selections would be a knockout. If this was a flight to Cebu, I'd still be halfway into my meal with our aircraft already descending. But in longer flights like this, I don't feel rushed and there's just plenty of time to do things on board. And one of them is visiting Luis to see how he's doing in his seat. and by the looks of it, I think he's as curious as me in figuring out how each button here serves its function. Well, we don't get to fly business class often, especially aboard the A350, and now's the time to test things while we're here. With a touch of a button, Luis is able to turn his seat into a full flat bed in a matter of seconds. Now the things only missing here are the huge pillows and blankets you'd usually see on these seats, and those headsets. Unfortunately, those things aren't offered during these times. Anyhow, it seems Luis can do away without them and still have a great time familiarizing what's around him. With plenty of time remaining, I decided to do one thing business class passengers can do that those in economy can't: cross over the different sections of this plane's cabin. And with the ample time I have, I decided to do another quick visit at the back and finding crew members at the rear galley resting in this not so busy and almost empty flight. For passengers in coach, 11.6-inch screens are found in every seat, with good movies to watch and wide selection of music to listen to as well. But so much for entertainment. For the remaining time I have, I just gotta try taking a nap in my very own flatbed. Now I don't know how many minutes I dozed off, but it was a power nap I needed, only to be awakened by the announcement for crew members to prepare the cabin for landing. As we began opening the window shades, there stands a magnificent sight to behold. The spectacular view of Mount Matutum seemed to welcome us as we descended into General Santos City. With final checks done around the cabin, it was only a matter of minutes doing our approach, eventually reaching General Santos Tumbler Airport for landing. After about 8 years since the last time I've been here, it just feels good to be back, especially seeing the progress made on this airport, which took a very long while to renovate. I just can't wait to see the improvements.
Cabin crew doors at disarm, please. Thank you.
Climb doors and crash check, please.
Well, so much for this business class experience in this 2-hour journey. I'd say you'd get more bang for your buck trying this out on long-haul flights. And before I go, a little camaraderie with the crew, handing out an invitation to my YouTube channel and thanking them for their attentive and hospitable service I call Buong Pusong Alaga. As we move along, I find it a bit hard to accept that our journey aboard PAL's business class is over. Time really does fly so fast when you're having fun. I don't know when I'd get to try this again aboard the A350, but getting a taste of it today makes me want to try out more of it again in the future. In the meantime, we make our way down the steps where we begin to feel the warm air greeting us, along with the sunshine and all, telling us that we're finally here in Gensan. As aviation enthusiasts, it's easy to spot us, being one of the last few people to disembark and move away from the plane, taking our time to take lots of snapshots of the aircraft while walking from the ramp and into the terminal. Before getting inside the arrival hall, passengers are made to fall in line, keeping in mind our social distancing as we do so. Arriving passengers are asked to follow health and safety protocols, which include disinfection through the use of foot baths, and of course, sanitizing one's hands to prevent the spread of bacteria and viruses. So now it's my turn to use the foot bath. And after doing so, we're allowed to go inside to collect our luggage, passing through thermal scanners, and eventually to baggage claim. The airport may seem big on the outside, but not that really big, that you can collect your luggage quickly and find yourself in arrivals in a matter of a few steps. Once at the lobby, travel buddy Luis bids farewell as he's flying back to Manila on the same plane. Yes, he just flew to Gensan just to try out the A350's business class. And as for me, I'm off to do business by purchasing seafood to sell back home, all fresh from the tuna capital of the Philippines. At General Santos City Airport, this is Mitch Young. Thank you very much for watching.